We do not condone abductions. Neither does the Constitution allow either abductions or enforced disappearances or even torture. We have a very, very vibrant Constitution, and the government has no capacity to roll back constitutional guarantees. It has no legal capacity to do so. What perhaps needs to be perhaps addressed going forward is a little more transparency on how police officers, law enforcement officers make a decision on arrests and how that arrest should be executed. And we are working on a policy framework which will be introducing in Parliament to provide a framework. The same way, for example, the Director of Public Prosecutions has developed guidelines on how he arrives at a decision to charge someone. We have been in talks under the auspices of the National Council on Administrative Justice, which is chaired by the Honourable Chief Justice, whereby we want to come up with a policy rule-based guidelines on how we arrive at a decision to arrest someone and the procedures. Right now, the policy framework is not present. That is what we want to do.
Sorry, but even if the policy guidelines are not existent, there is a Constitution of Kenya enacted in 2010.
That's what I started with, and I say that the constitutional framework does not allow any of the things you've mentioned.
So why would
killings,
police officers be abducting people, holding them without communication, only to be released later, starved, weak?
From where we sit, the people who have been put in custody have been put in custody through arrests. And if any person alleges that...
So there has been no abductions, according to you?
No.
So those people that were taken by police officers in the night, taken to different police stations?
You can be arrested any time of the day, of the night, depending on the nature of crime you are committing. If you are, for example, planning, and I'm not saying in this case, I'm just giving hypothetically, if you are planning a terror attack, we don't wait for sunrise to arrest you. We'll arrest you at the earliest opportunity and in the manner that is commensurate with the kind of danger you're posing to the public.
So what if you've been speaking on X or social media?
It depends on what you're saying. Maybe you are inciting anarchy. You're inciting people to desecrate the emblems of our national sovereignty.
How should such a person be arrested, Waziri?
In any manner, in the fastest way possible, and perhaps in a manner that prevents harm to the public.
Do you have a right to be informed while you're being arrested?
You have a right to be informed while you're arrested.
Why are they not being informed?
Who has not been informed?
There are people that have been abducted.
Yeah, we need to know.
Shadrach Kiprop, Shad.
Yeah.
Gabriel Oguda.
Yeah.
They were never informed why they were being arrested.
Say so.
And nobody communicated to their lawyers or even the leader of minority at the National Assembly.
Yeah,
and I raised the question.
No, those are political statements.
Sorry, you may call it political. Let me just raise the question. Raise a question on the floor of the House and said that he could not find his assistant. And the leader of majority was tasked to get in touch with the Inspector General to find out where this gentleman was. Eventually was found in Kajiado. Had not been allowed to communicate with a lawyer or even family members.
Two things. One, depending on the threat that you pose to the society, you can be arrested in different ways. Number two, if your rights have been violated in the process of arrest, detention, or in law enforcement, in the law enforcement space, you have a right to redress. It's as simple as that. Let's not complicate the matter. And you know,
so is
it's easy for me
is
to
there a
say,
right to go to petition, or you are assured of it by the Constitution even before your arrest?
I have not used the word petition. I said,
redress.
if your rights are infringed, and in which case we will not rely on one side of the story. You want to hear the story of the person being arrested and the story of the arresting officer. That's why you have judicial systems. So any person whose rights have been violated have a right to redress, and I think it's as simple as that.
I'll read your statement, just an example of a statement from the Chief Justice herself and the President of the Supreme Court, which is where people would go to seek justice, that is at the judiciary. And she was saying that our transformative constitution mandates that law enforcement operates strictly within the confines of the Bill of Rights and the law. And Article 49 specifies the rights of arrested persons, including the right to be informed of the reason for the arrest, to communicate with an advocate and others whose assistance is necessary, and to be presented before a court as soon as reasonably possible, but no later than 24 hours after the arrest. Some of these people, they've not even been taken to court.
Nobody can be held for more than 24 hours lawfully without being taken to court, unless the offenses for which they are being investigated fall within the Prevention of Terrorism Act, which allows the police to hold suspects for as long as it's necessary.
Is that what was happening in this case?
I have not said so. You're the one who said so. I haven't said so.
They were held for more than 24
person,
hours.
It's simple, Sam. If somebody has been held in custody for more than 24 hours, what they should do is to go to the nearest court and apply for orders called habeas corpus, which is an order to produce the body of a missing person. That is first year law.
So what is the responsibility on the side of the Interior Ministry, but also the police
Our
service?
responsibility is to ensure, first, that the country is safe and secure. Criminals don't run roughshod on citizens for whatever reason, that whatever disputes, including political disputes, are processed in an orderly manner, and that if there are breaches within the law enforcement space, those breaches should be redressed. And if anybody doesn't trust, for example, the police, we have oversight accountability mechanisms, including IPOA, including Kenya National Commission for Human Rights, which is a government body. And therefore, those who may feel aggrieved are not short of options. And for us, we don't want to venture into political discussions about hypothetical cases. We want to deal with real cases, and we have no capacity anyway whatsoever to frustrate the Constitution. And if we are tempted, the courts are there.
Okay.
It's as simple as
So
that.
let's talk about real cases, because you call those ones hypothetical. Never mind, they're real. How many people are in custody as you speak?
We have, at the moment, 1,009.
1,009. Would you know which counties?
Yes, I have a breakdown of all the counties. I'm not just speaking figures. I can send them to you. They're numerous,
please
including what they did, what they are being investigated for. I have all the details. I can send it to you.
Have they been presented to court?
Many of them have been presented to court, and those that have not been presented will be presented within 24 hours.
From when?
So from the people we have arrested from the time the process started until now is 1,009.
Are they still in custody?
Many of them have been released, including the 185 that were released yesterday by courts. Yeah.
So you're a professor of law, and Article 37 is one that talks about the freedom of picketing, or to relay a petition state agencies on what concerns that people may have. What do you think should happen when people want to express themselves in the manner they have? Because even when the first demonstrations happened, which was on the 18th of June, they were extremely peaceful, but still there was reaction by the police with tear gas canisters to disperse the crowds. What are they supposed to do if they want to agitate?
The Constitution empowers every citizen with the right to assemble, demonstrate, and to picket and to present petitions to public authorities. That right is direct, it is inalienable, and it is a right that is to be enjoyed by every person. Now, that Article 37 qualifies itself by saying the person demonstrating, and by the way, demonstration, which is the word used in the Constitution, is not protest, and it's not a riot. Okay, it is to assemble and demonstrate, not to protest, and not to riot. Rioting is an offense under the Penal Code. So it says, that article says the person exercising that right must be peaceful,
right,
and must be unarmed. But if you look at Article 24 of the Constitution, it also has other parameters, which is, you know, the respect for the right of other people, etc., etc.
right.
So the policy of the government of Kenya is that any person exercising the Article 37 right to do those four things, to assemble, to demonstrate, to picket, to present petitions to public authorities, the police have no business disturbing that person. But the person also should not interfere with the right of others. For example, they cannot go and close a road and obstruct traffic, because your right ends where my right starts. And therefore they should exercise their rights, be orderly, and not venture into affecting the right of other people. And so long as people are exercising their rights, we have made it very clear. I've spoken to the IG many times, and we are in concurrence that it would be unconstitutional and unlawful to interfere or even provoke peaceful demonstrators who are exercising their freedom to have divergent opinion. But is that not what we've been having? The answer is no. What we've been having is the invasion of the space to demonstrate and to picket by opportunistic politicians who are mobilizing criminals to hurt people and loot their property.
When did that happen?
It has happened every other time.
Please give me specific dates.
And what I need all the time, when was there a peaceful demonstration in Kenya?
18th of June, 2024.
Yes.
And people expressing themselves against the finance bill.
Which people?
The people on the streets of Nairobi.
Were you there?
We covered them at Citizen Civic.
Yeah, so if there are cases where peaceful people were, their rights were violated, or they were provoked by the police without them breaking the parameters that I've already described, they have a right to redress.
I wish you were being specific, because the demonstrations on 25th of June were totally different from what was witnessed on the 18th of June. But still,
that is your judgment.
The police officers.
That is your judgment.
You can look at the images, but tell me if they were the same.
You see, a police officer who throws tear gas or starts beating people who are just peacefully walking violates the law. They should be prosecuted. It's as simple as that. That's it. And that's the policy position.
Has any of them been arrested or being investigated for that?
Many.
How many?
You may want to check with IPOA. The last time I spoke to them, I think 3 days ago, they told me they are investigating cases of excesses by police officers. And I said, well and good, that's part of your mandate. Please proceed.
So when you spoke to the IG and told him that they cannot interfere with Article 37, do you think there's been adherence to that? Largely,
as I said at the beginning, there has been largely adherence by many officers. Some of them have been provoked to very great extent by protesters. And as I've said, protesters are not demonstrators.
So what's the difference?
It's in the constitution. The language is in the constitution.
Yes,
Yeah.
but what makes protesters offensive?
No, I've not said they're offensive. You are the one who said so.
No,
I just say the
you just told me
constitution
demonstrators are
says
not protesters.
the right is the right to assemble, to demonstrate, and to picket.
Does that
and
exclude protesting?
I wouldn't think so.
So what is the problem, Waziri?
There's no problem. There's no problem.
You see, you're saying demonstrators are not supposed to be protesters.
No, I said any person exercising their right within the four words used in Article 37 as protection by the Constitution.
So,
and number two, I'm saying any law enforcement officer who interferes or tries to hinder a person operating under the Article 37 right when they are peaceful and unarmed has violated the law and has dealt with accountability.
Okay. Let's move on to 25th of June, 2024, and that is the breach of Parliament. And there had been activity on the streets of Nairobi. There had been demonstrations. There have been police discharging tear gas. I hope I'm allowed to use that word. Then all of a sudden, we saw people being shot, people getting into through the fence of Parliament. But the people who are shooting, they are not the same officers that had been attempting to contain the demonstrations. Who are those?
As I said, cases of shooting are scientific in nature, in the sense that for you to assign a shooting to a particular gun and therefore trace the holder of that gun is a process.
I have not said those who shot dead. I said those who can be seen on cameras shooting, pulling the trigger.
Do you know them?
I'm asking you, who are they? Because they are hooded.
They are being investigated. I've told you files have been opened on every incident of shooting.
You're the Interior Cabinet Secretary.
Yes, I am.
You don't know who those people are?
But I'm not a police investigator. I'm sure even the IG doesn't know. He's waiting for the process to be completed. That's why we have a DCI.
Is it a possibility that the people that are protecting Parliament are not police officers?
Nobody has the authority to exercise police powers if they are not police officers.
So who are those people? They're hooded.
You tell me.
We could look at the images.
I think what you could do, because I don't think the images could amount to forensic investigation. What you could do is, as a journalist or an eyewitness who witnessed who did what, is to help us with that information. The team that is looking at that investigations. And if there are people who are exercising police powers who are not police officers, those are criminals, and action should be taken against them. So you could help us by giving us that information, because it is not in the interest of government to protect criminals of any nature, whether they are pretending to help in law enforcement or not. A criminal is a criminal. And the danger posed by one set of criminals is equal to the danger posed by another.
And based on what you've heard or learned, what exactly happened that we ended up with a breach of Parliament?
What happened on 25th of June 2024 was akin to the events we had in the United States on 6 January 2021, where a group of people, for whatever reasons, decided to attack constitutional institutions and with the intent to overthrow the Constitution. And therefore, when we use the word anarchists, it's deliberate. From a security standpoint, it's a deliberate choice of word, because our constitutional order establishes the various constitutions, including parliaments. If you disagree with the parliament, you don't burn it down. So what happened is that some criminals attempted to bring down Parliament, and in the process, we had to stop it because allowing criminals to overrun Parliament amounts to overthrowing the Constitution. And
how did you stop it?
In the manner in which you saw. You told me you were there. That's how we stopped.
I'm asking you, you're the cabinet secretary.
Yes, that's what I tell you, in the manner in which you saw.
How did you stop it?
We stopped it the way you saw it. Please, that's why it didn't succeed.
How did you stop it, Waziri?
We prevented it from completing itself.
How so?
Yeah, by resisting criminals.
What does that mean?
Exactly that. Just frustrating a criminal so that he doesn't succeed.
People are killed.
There was loss of life, and an account will be given on every death that happened on that day or any other day. That is the law.
And you don't know who killed people there?
Investigations are ongoing.
But you stopped it?
We stopped what?
You said you stopped?
Not me. It's law enforcement.
Those are your words, Waziri. I'm quoting you.
I'm speaking for government. Government is the Interior Minister. The police falls under my docket. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I said we stopped it, it's not me who was in Parliament.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, to the people that were killed, specifically there, because you said that you gave justice, you'll account for each and every person that was killed. And now you're saying you had to stop it. What does justice look like for such kind of people?
It looks like I've just told you.
That
any person who attempts to overthrow the constitutional order for whatever reason, it is the responsibility of the national security organs to stop the desecration, invasion of institutions. And therefore, in between, the Constitution applies. If in the process of enforcing and defending the Constitution, there are excesses, the courts are there, and accountability for both police officers and other people. As I've told you, in a crowd, a gun could be shot by any person, including criminals, including police officers. So it is only fair that we be patient. I have seen some of the ongoing investigations. There is always a postmortem report. And in that postmortem report, there is a government pathologist, but also there is independent doctors, including the independent medical legal unit, which has been in every of those postmortems, including the one I gave an example earlier. Okay. So I think there is no cause to worry in terms of accountability, and nobody will be shielded. And this government has no business protecting anybody, including a police officer who applies their weapons outside the law of our country. It's as simple as that.
Do you feel any regret that some of those people, especially just right outside Parliament that were killed, were actually unarmed? Some of them were carrying a flag. Did they deserve to die in such a manner?
Again, I don't want to preempt ongoing forensic work. I wouldn't want. But now that you are interested in hypothesizing, if what your hypothesis, the hypothesis you're presenting, if it becomes truth, would expect not just regret. I would expect very severe punishment on any person who applies themselves in that manner. It is unlawful. It is unconstitutional. It cannot be tolerated in a democracy. The same way disagreements of a political nature or whatever nature cannot be a guarantee for someone to overrun constitutional institutions in the same light. It is unconstitutional to use force, including by police officers outside the Constitution and the law.
All right, Professor Kindiki, we are not done. We'll still come back with more conversations around the issues that have been happening the past few days, but also looking at also the work that he has to do at the Interior Department. Now, most